I say, and glad to be here with you. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And yeah, so we're gonna get right started into the content application. But first, you know me, I have to do icebreakers. So if you don't know what an icebreaker is, we're just kind of going around asking each other or answering the question of, you know, today it's going to be, what colleges are you thinking about applying to? So feel free to unmute and just kind of answer the question if you have an idea yet. If not, that's okay. You can also say that. Chicago. Oh, okay. I see you. You might see me. Okay, UPenn. I have a few friends at UPenn. I have a few friends at Columbia too. So I'm seeing a lot of like prestigious schools, Ivy Leagues, UC Berkeley. It's okay if you don't know. We're gonna help you through that so we can have a better idea about what colleges you can apply to. So if you don't know yet, that's okay. Today we're gonna just be going over the common application, so you don't have to worry about, you know, specific college supplement essays quite yet. We're just gonna be going down the rundown of what the application looks like. So just a few ground rules in case this is your first webinar. Be respectful. Of course, there will be some times where I'll allow you guys to interact and answer questions, so you guys aren't too bored hearing me speak. So if you do have a question though, feel free to raise your hand, or you can just unmute or say in the chat you have a question. Just type your question or ask to be unmute. And whenever someone's speaking, just give them your attention. And of course, when you attend all the sessions, you get to learn more about the college application process, improve your English, and it'll be really helpful. So thank you guys. So you may be already familiar with the Common Application, but in case you don't know, the Common Application is an undergraduate college admission application, along with the Coalition Application, used by over 950 different universities, including some outside of the US. Applicants can fill in the application and submit it to multiple universities at the same time. Newest editions of Common App open every August 1st. So this is every year right before when colleges are expected to put out their application and their supplements for people coming into the new school year to apply. The deadline for submitting the Common Application depends on the institution you're applying to. So I'll show you guys how that works in a bit, but just a little explanation about what the Common App is. And if you have questions about the Coalition app, I personally didn't use it to apply, but I'm familiar with the interface, and it's a lot less used than the Common App, so I would recommend the Common App, of course. But if you have any questions about the Coalition app, I can try to help where I can as well. So before starting the Common App, what do you need to do? Okay, so first you need to make an account before you can see this interface. So how do you make an account? So I'm actually going to show you guys my screen on what the Common App looks like. It does no good for me because I've already applied, but for you guys, just so you can get the rundown. Here we go. Okay, this is the application. Woohoo! So as you can see, I kind of already used the Common Application, and I kind of saved all of the colleges I applied to from last year. You guys won't have that when you first make an account. These are just for me, from what I did. You might see the University of Chicago right there. Woohoo! And how do you make an account? So you've probably seen the corner over here that I have my account here and my ID. You don't really need this. It's only for when you're sending emails to people. But what I recommend is when you first go into the Common App, it's commonapp.org. You should use an email that you can accept emails readily by. So I would not recommend using a school email because sometimes those emails filter out certain communications because of the district you're located in. So use like a personal email. And obviously use a password that you know no one is going to take. But once you create an account, you'll have this interface right here. And you'll see like these little tabs. You'll see the dashboard, which doesn't really say anything. There's like a Q&A here. You can search any topics you have. You might also have these messages that are just kind of there to tell you how stuff works. And let's say you've already applied through the Common App, then you're already on top of it. But these are just last year's applications from when I was applying. So those kind of stay with you, but you cannot edit these after the new cycle. They just keep it so you can look back on them. So here's the My Colleges tab. Woohoo! So this is where you're going to start your college search. You would click here. But typically when you save colleges in the college search, they will pop up in My Colleges. So let's say I want to apply to the University of Chicago. I would search up the University of Chicago, add college, and then guys, look, now you have a college. So when you're looking to apply to colleges, make sure you guys add them through the search, and then you can look through the University of Chicago and see all the stuff that they expect from you. Woohoo! Common App. So this is the main focus here today, guys. So the Common App is, as the name suggests, the application that you're going to be using for every single platform. So this is the general information that you're going to use to apply to all the colleges. The only thing is that UChicago, if you click this part, some colleges will require you to answer additional questions, writing supplements, and recommenders. So you will put them in the individual college spot. But the Common App has your general information, where you're born, your name, where you went to school, testing, your extracurriculars, and your grades, etc. Or they would have you upload certain things here. So then you can send it to all your different colleges. It's already sent and submitted, and you just have to worry about the supplementals. So before I start on the next section, does anyone have any questions so far? Okay, cool. So I think everyone understands it pretty well. So I'm going to share another part of the slide that's going to run down some of the sections. So there are 7 sections total on the Common application. As you kind of saw on the side, the profile section asks for name, address, demographics, nationality. The family section asks about your family, their level of education, etc. Just kind of general where your family is from. The education section asks about the school you attended. So that also includes like the coursework, the GPA, your current classes for the year. And then the testing sections where you upload your SAT/ACT. And then in addition, TOEFL. So you guys have probably heard of TOEFL, but this also goes here, and also AP subject tests if you've taken any. Also SAT 2 is a part of this. So that goes in line with like every test they could possibly send. You would have to confirm to make sure that the test that you're submitting is taken by the Common App. So I've had some people ask about like Duolingo English assessments. You would have to double check with your advisor, which is one of those things that I don't think is generally accepted, but make sure you go through the list of, general tests you're expected to have. And also a reminder for testing, some colleges, they don't require tests, so you may not have to report it, but please make sure which ones do, so you know which ones to send. I know University of Chicago has always been test optional, but it doesn't hurt to have tests anyway, so keep that in mind. And yeah, so I'm actually going to show you guys how they look like right now. at the actual app. Okay, someone has a question. Can we use the Common App ID for sending emails to the colleges? Yes, thank you. So you would typically use the CA ID. You would port that and your name in the emails. But the problem is, for some colleges, they record demonstrated interest, but some do not. So here's an example. The CA ID is used for technological errors, or like you need help with certain aspects of the application that aren't working properly. It's for technical support through emails. However, you wouldn't need to put your Common App ID in some cases to the colleges you're applying for. One, if they're doing demonstrated interest, you don't even have to do it, but it's generally because they give you your own ID for your application, independent for the university. So University of Chicago applicants have a different ID that you would put in the email address, if that makes sense. Does that answer your question? Okay, I'm glad. So here we go. I'm gonna go over each section with you. Woohoo! So here's your name. You also have the choice to put a suffix. I don't have a suffix, so I wouldn't need any of these, but in case you do, you have it. In case you have a different first name that you'd like to go by, or a preferred name, you can check this box, put your name. If not, put no. You can also do pronouns. Have you ever used another name? This is more talking about legally. So if you were, let's say, born and your name was Jonathan, but now you go by, I'm trying to think, Timothy, legally, like a legal name. This is what this is for. This is a preferred name, so it's not official, but it's something like a nickname. And then you can put your gender and then your date of birth. So here are the other sections in the profile part. You have your address. Of course, I'm not going to show you guys my address. Contact details for, emergency contacts, your demographics. So this has to do with race, ethnicity, where you're from, what you identify as. Then we have language. So this is where you kind of put like what language proficiencies you have. I'll show this. So you can select how many you have. I think maximum they have 5, even though I'm sure there's a lot of people at least proficient in like 10, especially in Chicago. So that's a little limiting. That's fine though. And you also have geography and nationality. So you have all these sections, woohoo. If you need help, you can always ask your parents and they can help you, or ask an advisor on how they can kind of organize that for you. And then here's a big one. Okay, so I know a lot of you guys are first generation and or low income students. So what is the Common App fee waiver? It says, our member colleges want to make sure that application fees do not pose a barrier for any student who wishes to apply for admission. Do you feel that your financial circumstances might qualify you for an application fee waiver? So let's say you don't have a scholarship to cover these, because every application you send does cost money. But if you're like me, who's amazing and poor, you can get a fee waiver. So here you can click more to learn more about it. But generally when you select this part, they'll ask you all these questions. And they'll force you to sign, of course, and then kind of confirm that you're what you say you are. These are relevant for domestic students, so these might not apply to you, and they may have different standards for international students. But I highly recommend, if you cannot get a Common App fee waiver, you can qualify and see if you can get scholarships. Have other people try to, fundraise to have you guys cover those application fees, because they're a lot. Otherwise, you saw all those colleges I applied for. I would have applied for like 15, I would have paid like $80 each, and no one wants to pay $80 for each. So generally you can select any of these as a domestic student, but I just wanted to make sure you guys knew that there was an option for a fee waiver. Yay! Next, family. So without going into too much depth in my family, but this is where you're gonna put all your stuff. This is where education goes. So they're gonna ask you a bunch of stuff here, like, oh, did you take a gap year? What year did you graduate? Blah, 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 blah. Some people also attend colleges while in university. How is that possible? So some high schools are attached to a college where you will take courses. You can also report that here. You can also report your grades, any academic awards that you received, any organizations you've worked within the school or community, and also just a general explanation of what your future plans are. Courses, if you've attended multiple high schools, you would also put that here, and then specify which one you attended the most. Put the one that you're expected to graduate from currently, or the one that you attended the most in this part. So you can put in the most information you can, and you're good. And then you can put your academic honors. Yeah. You can also specify it's a boarding school. They'll ask you a bunch of questions, but I think you guys get the gist. So, testing. Woohoo! So, this one's probably the easier section out of all of them that doesn't require as much scrutiny in remembering personal details about yourself. So, here are some of them. I mentioned the Duolingo English test. See, I remember. So it actually seems like they do accept it. So in addition to sending official score reports as required by colleges, do you wish to self-report? You self-report the score on the application, and then when you get admitted to a university, you upload the official testing transcripts or the proof of your test score to the colleges, either through email, either through their portal by uploading it. That's how that works. So ACT, SAT, SAT subject, AP, IB, Cambridge, TOEFL, PT academic, IELTS, and Duolingo English test. So these are the ones that they will accept, just so you know. And here you go. You can international applicants, so this will be relevant for you guys, is promotion within your educational system based upon standard leaving examinations given at the end of lower and or senior secondary school by a state or national leaving examinations board. So if you're like me, I put no. But for international students, you would have to ask yourself this. If you are like required to have these leaving examinations in your senior year by like some state or national exam board. So this is like really popular in Asia because you will be taking a lot of these tests as a means of leaving the school to go to another school. So you would probably put yes. It might be different in Mexico or from where you're from, but just so you know that this is specific to international students. So activities. This is probably the most fun part for you guys. So you can put up to 10 activities in the common application. So these are all the things that you can put on here. Ooh. You can also put family responsibilities, which is what I did. If you wanted to learn more about that, you can. But I know a lot of people have to help their family. So that was me. I put that as the number one because it was a big, important part of me. I take care of my sister and I cook. And I pretty much take care of my family. So that's what they mean by family responsibilities. It's like a long-term, prolonged thing. It's kind of expected. It's not like chores, unless your chores are more so to help your family in an extensive amount that takes up a lot of your time, then absolutely. So you can put up to 10. You have all this types of stuff that you can put on. You can also put internships, which is what I wish they specified in work, because I also reported internships. If you work as like a cashier or a cook at like a restaurant or a fast food place, that counts. You can put that as extracurricular. If you do volunteering, absolutely. If you do ballet, go right ahead. these are generally what they look for. But I've seen people also put research. This is something that I think they should also put, because I think a lot of students are doing research, but it's no means like a priority, just something that they could specify to mention if you feel like reporting it. And yeah, so you have to say like what years you did it, how long you do it, how many hours you spend doing it, how many weeks, and if you want to do it in college. So it kind of shows that commitment, which they like, and I think is a big thing they want to prioritize in college admissions. So we're going to go to the semi-last bit. Okay. The personal essay. So I'm actually going to stop sharing and show you guys my slides again. Does anyone have any questions so far? If not, I hope that means I'm doing a good job. If not, just to expand a little bit on the activity section, personal projects are also a part of the activity session that you can put in. And you will be expected to write a little bit about the activities. So it's about 150 characters. So what I like to recommend is to prioritize action words. So instead of explaining what the program is, say what you got out of it. So since it's very limited, let's say you're tutoring kids. Instead of saying tutored kids at after school event, blah, blah, blah. Say like educated 30 children with D grades bumped to a B, because it shows initiative, it shows what change you brought, and it shows the scale of the project you did. That is a big tip for me, so you can make the most out of those 150 characters, because I guarantee a lot of people volunteer or they tutor and they say similar things, but you want to show the scale of what you did and how it meant to you. So the most fun part, I know. So the Common Application has a 650 word limit essay to complete. There are a selection of prompts for you to write your own personal essay about, including any topic of your choice. So most people pick the first prompt, and I will show you guys. I don't even remember which prompt I picked. I probably did the same one too. Or maybe I did the miscellaneous one. So we'll see. Excuse me. Essay is meant to showcase your writing ability as well as your personality. Excuse me. By focusing on a specific experience, hobby, or quirk that may have helped in shaping who you are today, which doesn't have to be some crazy thing. In fact, I would probably recommend not talking about something that's like trying to make it seem like you're more impressive when you are already impressive and you already have things to you that make you an impressive person. So I will show you what I mean by that in just a second. Okay. Supplemental essays. Some colleges, especially top colleges, especially U Chicago, will require additional supplemental essays. So what is a supplemental essay? Have you guys heard of a Y essay? Not like the letter Y, but like, let me put in the chat, a Y. Have you guys heard of that before? I think it's like a really infamous type of essay where the college is going to be asking you, why do you want to attend the University of Chicago? Why do you want to go to Columbia? Why do you want to go to UPenn or UC Berkeley? I guarantee you like 99% of colleges ask this because they want to know that you actually want to go there and you're not just applying to like a million of them, even though, let's be realistic, we are. So that's kind of what a supplemental essay is. It's not going to be as long as your common application, but it's significant because this is where you can kind of talk about the unique aspects of the college you're interested in. Some stayaways: do not talk about prestige, do not talk about location, do not talk about like stuff you'd feel like everyone else is going to say. I think it's okay to like mention the location, right? Because it's like, I want to go to Columbia because it's in New York. Like I want to go to New York too. But there has to be some sort of significance to why New York. So if you're just gonna say, so I can get pizza at midnight for $1. Okay, that's not relevant to the college, right? You could say like, I want to go to New York because I understand there are many organizations that work in criminal justice or forensic law. And I'm very passionate about the community initiatives in New York focusing in juvenile justice. Like, you see how I just made that like 20 million times better? And people are going to be like, oh, okay, she thought about it. She's not just coming to Columbia because she wants $1 pizza. She just wants to do more about criminal justice. So you're talking about your passions. You're talking about something a little more in depth than just like, oh, it's New York. You're going that step further because you also did research on the college, and now you generally like it just because of the research you did. And it's a lot more specific as opposed to like, oh, okay, I can see why she wanted to go to New York. Because if she went to like, let's say, University of Madison, there's not really that much there. So that's what helps you in these supplemental essays. And I will go over it in the next webinar. As for the big personal essay and what advice I have, okay, I will go back to the application. But first, you're probably going to revise your essays a lot. I know some people who can write their essays last minute and submit it and still get in. It's a little disheartening, but that's not your fault. You might feel like your first draft is not good, and that's fine because it's supposed to like not be good. So you can make it better over the summer and the fall before you submit your application. You can also look at successful college applications online. I will show you guys a few good websites for inspiration, but please do not copy them. I know a few people that got caught copying. You do not want to copy. Hence why I think a really good personal essay is like, people say you can pick the essay from a giant pile and immediately tell who it's for. You read my essay, there's a lot of personal details in there, of course, which makes it easier for people to identify me. But there's also like a lot of intrinsic things that just scream very Danny to me and to other people. So if you want tips on how to do that, ask your advisors, ask your counselors, teachers, family also helps. I definitely asked my dad for like philosophical stuff to think about when writing, and also deadlines. Okay, I know some of you guys are procrastinators. I procrastinate sometimes, but I'm also the type of person that completes steps like really early. But I'm telling you guys, make a spreadsheet, make a Word document, make like a little journal so you know like what the deadlines are, because you do not want to be like, this is my dream school, and then it's the day before the deadline and you have not started. You need to make sure you keep in mind of your deadlines. Most of these top colleges are due sometime in like December for regular or like early decision too. So submit early. If you're applying early decision, even more, be mindful because you have to submit very early in the school year. So that's it. And also be yourself. Like, I know it's really discouraging, and you might be reading like your friends' essays and be like, oh, well, they're so much cooler. You are cool too. Does the college application process show the coolest parts of ourselves all the time? No, it doesn't. But that's okay, because you want to put your best foot forward and you want to try your best and create something that you want to be happy with, because you want to feel good. And when you feel good and you put out something, other people will notice that. And that's not even just college application advice. I think that's applicable for life. So I will show you guys the Common App itself, so you guys aren't just like, okay, thanks, Danny. Do you guys have any questions so far? about essays. Okay, woo. Here's the personal essay. So you would have to mark this just to so that you confirm you understand that you're gonna need a personal essay to submit. And then I'll show you the list of the colleges that require an essay. Of course, Chicago requires a personal essay. Some, but not many colleges don't require it, but like all of the top colleges you're applying for need it. So, oh, okay. So someone asks, is it too hard to answer the uncommon question of U Chicago? Yes, but I'm gonna say for a different reason. People that struggle with it either struggle because they have so many ideas they want to do with it, or they can't think of anything at all. It depends on who you are as a person. If you get so excited seeing the themes and like the prompts, then I think it's a good fit because you're gonna like write and try so many different prompts. In the next webinar, I'm gonna be going over the uncommon question actually, and like helping you guys with that, as well as supplemental essays in general. So stay tuned for that, as well as like the actual Common App essay. But I think you guys get a good exposure to it in this session. So I hope that answers your question. I went through at least like 5 prompts just brainstorming for U Chicago. So don't be afraid to like experiment with a bunch of different ones. So yeah. Here are the prompts for the personal essay. Oh, okay. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it seems like I picked this first one. This is like the most popular one. Some students have a background, identity, interest, or talent that is so meaningful, they believe their application would be incomplete without it. If this sounds like you, then please share your story. So this is where you're going to talk about, something meaningful to you. It could literally be anything. I've seen a lot of interesting interpretations of these essays. Mind you, some people are not as diverse as others, but I think you guys will have no problem thinking of something really insightful. And I think essay writing for the personal essay is going to force you to think of a lot of different interpretations and philosophical questions about life. And then here are the other ones. I definitely tried doing this one, the lessons one. The lessons we take from obstacles we encounter can be fundamental to later success. Recount a time when you faced a challenge, setback, or failure. How did it affect you, and what did you learn from the experience? So this is a big focus on how it affected you and what did you learn. Not so much how bad the obstacle was. This next one, reflect on a time when you questioned or challenged a belief or idea. What prompted your thinking, and what was the outcome? Emphasis on the questions here for all of them. Make sure you guys are really digging deep into the questions that they're asking you. And I know it's a lot asking from like 17, 16, 18-year-olds, but that is the common application. Reflect on something that someone has done for you that made you so happy or thankful in a surprising way. Surprising way, emphasis on surprising. How has this gratitude affected or motivated you? Discuss an accomplishment, event, or realization that sparked a period of personal growth and a new understanding of yourself or others. Describe a topic, idea, or concept you found so engaging that it makes you lose track of time. Why does it captivate you? What or who do you turn to when you want to learn more? And then lastly, you can literally write any essay you want if it somehow does not fit any of these. So you select this part. And yeah, so then I actually don't recommend you write your essay here. Open like a different document, like a Word or a Google Doc, and type it there so it saves and people can easily edit it and then copy paste it into the box, this box. And then, yeah. So does anyone have any questions about the format of the writing section for Common App? Some questions here. Oh, and here's another important thing. So they're going to ask you for COVID-19. You can actually put additional information now about COVID and like any circumstances in your life. There's also an FAQ about it if you want to know more. You can talk about like your health or well-being and all that stuff. You can literally talk about anything in additional information, which is great. Because if there's like something personal that you weren't able to talk about that was like significant to you, you put it here. And this is about like 200 words, I think. So you just put it here, and then you could put like just general additional information. So this is the COVID-19 spot, and then you have another one where you can just put any additional information you want. So that's always great too. If you feel like you don't really want to write your essay about something personal in COVID, which I kind of recommend that you don't write about COVID, put it here. So you can talk about it more professionally and not like stylistically, because I feel like the personal essay is more so about style. And then the last section, which you will probably not need, but depending on the college, you might. Some colleges require a courses and grades section where you would physically have to put the grades and the classes you took on the thing. So you won't need to do this most likely, but here's the link that will like let you know what colleges actually do require it. But in a lot of colleges, they have their own portal that just kind of ask like for you to upload your transcript or put it there that you will get after submitting your common application. So do not worry about that. Anyways, I will stop sharing and show you guys the last slide, which is the most funnest part, where you guys get to tell me, how are we feeling about the common application after today's webinar? Oh, okay, wait, first, we got a question. Okay. Do we answer the COVID question as an essay or as an informal question asking how was our experience? Great question. The additional information spot where that COVID question is, you don't have to write it as like a formal, like stylized simile essay. It's just you talking about what happened. So just, be direct, tell the admissions officers what happened, and you're good. Because there's not a lot of space on it. It's just to kind of explain like, maybe you had family passing or you got COVID yourself, so you were out for some time. If COVID had some like negative effects on your health, your academic life, etc., etc. So that's what it's for. You don't have to go like all stylized on it. I hope that helps. And yeah, you guys can unmute and just kind of say, or even say in the chat, like, how do you guys feel about the common application after going through that whole thing with me? That's so
seems like the essay part will be the harder to answer because you need to really think deeper on that and just leveling up every essay, even if the supplemental. So I think that it will take a time to answer it, and the common I will open in just a few weeks. So I'm really excited but also nervous. Yeah, it's like a mix of this feeling.
Thank you. And that's okay. That's perfectly normal. You guys have a lot of time actually, but that time goes by fast. So knowing about it now, you're already doing a great service to yourself. So, and also someone says, not so overwhelming. I'm glad. Anyone else kind of want to share how they're feeling about the webinar, what they learned today? Just go right ahead. If not, that's okay. I hope it's helpful. And the last part, woohoo. So Q&A. So I imagine some people have some questions still. This is your opportunity to unmute and just ask them or put them in the chat. Do you guys have any questions about the Common App?
If we are going to apply for financial aid, should we put it there in the Common App? There's like a section further in each university.
Good question. So how does financial aid work? Financial aid actually has its own application, and I understand it's different for international applicants. So me being a domestic applicant it would look a little different for me and you. However, usually universities have their own separate financial aid portal. Okay, so actually I can show that right now because we're actually good on time. So it's not turned in with the Common Application. You can report like that you need a fee waiver, but I can show you guys like the financial aid portal for UChicago as an example. Undergraduate aid. And basically that's where you would upload all your documents, look at what is required. For UChicago, it's actually attached to the My Prospect application. So here. I'll show you guys the website for UChicago on what it looks like. So here we go. So this is for domestic, mindful, but I will show you guys what it looks like. When submitting any additional required documentation aside from these forms, you would have a separate portal as a prospective student to upload those. So you would submit those in advance and then it would show up as received on your prospect portal. You receive that portal when you send your Common Application and you get that login information. So don't worry about it on the Common App. It is an entirely separate process. And then they have a bunch of like ways you can calculate your net price and work study, all of that, loans. Just be mindful, make sure you're looking for international student resources. I'll show you guys a net price calculator actually as well. So if you don't know what a net price calculator is, just be mindful, it is not intended for use by the continuing graduate transfer international part-time students. You would contact the financial aid office on your own, but this is a resource. So you at least kind of know like what to expect you would pay. And then they also have a bunch of other different costs here too. But if you go to the actual financial aid office, they have all these things that you can go through. They also have a section for undocumented students, DACA. Yeah, practically anything you're looking for, they have it here. International student financial aid, let's go. Okay. So you can read all about here. They have a timeline. The international financial aid worksheet, it's kind of similar to domestic students, but it's all available when you receive your UChicago prospect account. You'd fill it out. It shows an explanation for some of the supporting documentation you might need. And also to be very clear, you might have seen the CSS or the FAFSA earlier. You do not complete those. Those are domestic students, which is why I didn't bring it up. They have merit scholarships. And one thing I will be able to say, if you're transferring as an international student, aid is not available. So international transfer students, unfortunately, must be able to document that they can fully finance their education. So be mindful. Check all your universities to make sure that they accommodate for you. I know UChicago is not like the best with international aid, but a little better, I think, than some colleges. But if you want a list of colleges that do provide full aid for international students, looking at Dartmouth. They just did it this year. And I'm sure there's others. It's kind of escaping me. Also here, very important. International students are eligible for financial aid only if they apply for funding during the admissions process. So if you're turning in your common application, you're fine. You would just turn it in during that time. And boom, you're done. So Edgar says, I need to know more about writing, please. Do you have a specific question you want to learn more about writing? I do want to note next week, we will have a writing specific webinar where I'll be here again, talking more specifically about the tips and experiences with writing and what I think personally can help with, trying to piece all those prompts together. If you have a specific question, do let me know. But reminder, we have next week's webinar, which will be more in depth. How many colleges would you recommend to apply as an international student? I am not an advisor, but I think a healthy amount of safeties, reaches, and targets. So I'm gonna put those down actually. Safety, target, reaches. So you might be wondering, what is that? Safety schools are schools that you well exceed grade-wise and you would otherwise get admitted easily. Targets are you have a decent shot, but of course, nothing as competitive as the reach or not as safety as the safety school. And then a balance of reaches. So with reaches, you can honestly apply to a lot of reaches if you know you can dedicate the time to do so. Make sure that regardless of how many colleges apply to, you have a mix of these. And you also don't take up 50 colleges that you can't dedicate as much time to applying. People I see usually apply between 10 to 30, but you don't have to do that. I've seen people do 5. I've seen people do 99. Consider application fees, consider if you can get aid for those, and it'll figure itself out. But the structure usually follows safety, target, reach, where you have a healthy balance of schools you like, emphasis on schools you like, in a bunch of different categories. So one that might be really easy for you to get into with your grades, one that's little competitive, but I think I got a shot. And then your Ivy Leagues, your U Chicagos, your MITs, those, you might want to stack on those too, if you want to, and if you have the time to do so. But I know you need to focus on safeties and targets first. I hope that helps. Does anyone have any other questions? I hope that means I did good. In that case, okay, well, let's say you still have questions and you're a little shy. I'm gonna put my Instagram in here so you guys just have some place to talk to me on. So if you have general questions about college admissions, about literally anything about college, about Common App, or you have questions that pop up later, just DM me on Instagram and I'll get right to you. That's usually my best way of contacting people. I've helped a lot of people in the past. People still reach out to me. It's kind of sweet. So if you need that, boom, I got you. And of course, thank you guys once again. I highly, highly recommend, if you want to learn more about essays, come to next week's webinar. It starts at the same time as this one, same day, 3 p.m. Central Time as this one. Is just next week. So keep an eye out for that. hopefully I'll be joined by my other intern to kind of help me with essay writing experiences. And if you're interested in U Chicago, highly recommend, because those prompts are like really difficult, as I can imagine. So why not ask a U Chicago student how to write it? I mean, it just makes sense. So thank you guys. You're dismissed. If you have any questions, just like let me know. And yeah, have a great rest of your day, guys. I'll see ya.
Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you.